One of the great things about indie games is that they can take risks and try things that major studios wouldn't even touch. Can You Handle Two at Once is innovative game design and also extremely fun. You get to play two games at the same time, and trying to divide your left side from your right side at the same time gave me hours of enjoyment. The only thing with this game is I can't decide if the scantily clad women are punishment for losing or reward for winning. Silver Dollar Games justifiably takes a lot of heat for the type of titles and apps that they flood the service with. But if you were just to discount them for what they've put on prior, you would miss my number 9 game, Fatal Seduction. Fatal Seduction almost enters a world of art and games as art discussion. You play the game, but you're listening to a story. The gameplay is not great, but it is engaging and the story pulls you through. It wraps up in about 20 minutes, but it is a memorable 20-minute experience that you definitely need to check out.
At school until one day I noticed a demon. It wasn't like the ones I saw before. This one was different and meaner. Thankfully, the angel came back and gave me the courage to keep fighting. My teacher started to hang around my dad a lot. She was very nice to me.
I don't think it's any surprise that Moe Mercury makes my list. However, it's not just the girls that you unlock. In fact, that really has very little to do with it. Moe Mercury 1 and 2 is actually a really good puzzle game that, to unlock the higher levels, takes quite a degree of thinking, and it took me several hours to unlock some of the final stages. Now, you can go online and get some walkthroughs at this point, but I would say avoid those because the thrill of actually beating this game is quite rewarding in itself. Unfortunately, if you didn't jump on and buy Moe Mercury 2, you can't get the same girls that I got, 2.5, they wear more clothes in. This may or may not matter to you. It's real easy to be deluded by a multiplayer game. You're hanging out with your friends and you're having fun because you're together. But that doesn't mean the game is fun. Hidden in Plain Sight, however, truly is fun. The gameplay is novel and pits you against your friends in crazy and interesting ways that is unlike anything else on the service. If you have more than one person around, if you have one friend, you owe it to get this game. DLC Quest breaks the rules for a lot of games. For instance, there's no way to fail this game. It's a platformer, but you can't die in it. If you exit or end it early, you get to jump right back in where you were and continue the game. But what DLC Quest gives you is a whole insight into DLC and what it's doing to gaming, and it presents it in a humorous story way that just makes you want to keep playing it. It seems like, even though there's no point in DLC Quest, it really feels like Mario had no need to collect coins, but coins are meaningful when there's DLC involved. We've had a lot of meme games this year, and we've had a lot of forced scrolling games this year. But 9-Cat Adventure combines them in a way that really propels this and earned a spot on my top 10 this year. This is the way to do a meme game. It takes the meme and it expands upon it, but it also provides it with some unique and interesting gameplay. Instead of the just simple and tried and true formula of just jump, just duck, it varies up the game type on you randomly and keeps you constantly guessing what's going on. The screen effects really sell you on the 9-Cat meme, and this is definitely one worth checking out. Puzzle platformers are not easy to do, but Scapegoat hits the balance between the puzzle and the platform. Different levels vary, whether they are time-based or they're trying to get you to solve a puzzle or figure out which order to work the blocks in, or really just get your jumps down right. It constantly keeps varying the pattern and stays interesting throughout, such to the point that I played through every level even when you don't need to play all the levels to beat the game. The characters are charming, the retro style is done beautifully, the soundtrack is amazing. This is quite simply an excellent game. If you're a fan of the GameMarx show, you've heard us talk about fun is hard games and platformers. And we're generally not fans of the style. These are games that are punishingly, excruciatingly hard and take enjoyment in mocking at you. That said, I really loved Mute Crimson. Don't let the plain graphic style fool you. This is one of the best designed platformers on the service this year. It subtly and in small ways changes between level to level, but becomes something much more complex by the end that you never would have realized you would have gotten to from the simplicity of the start. And that really shows a genius in level design. I'm a huge fan of any game with mechs in it, and I'll pretty much play any game that has mechs. That's not to say Junk's field position as number 2 on my list of Game of the Year is undeserved. Even though the graphics are a little rough, it has all of the components that you would want in a mech game. You can customize the mechs, you can select different mechs for different missions, and you have various missions, and customizing the loadout and changing the weapons that you choose actually does matter in the missions to pull it off successfully. There are levels and rewards and achievements in the game that add replayability to it, and there's also kind of a story if you can kind of get through some of the Japanese developers' English, let's just say. I didn't think it would be possible to combine Japanese-style mech swordplay with American tank mech artillery style, but this game pulls off a balance beautifully that any fan of mech games should check out. To put it bluntly, I sunk more hours into Solar Struggle Survival than any game on the indie game service this year. There's just something so beautiful and so perfect about this shooter. Doesn't have a whole lot of thrills, but what it adds in there really works and adds to the replayability of the game. I love that you could just jump in at any time and customize and upgrade without having to stop for levels or to go to an upgrade menu system. Just a simple thumbstick click and a few points spent here, a few points back here, and I'm right back into the fighting. The boss battles were great. The achievement system made me want to replay the game over and over again, trying out the different units. The leaderboards gave a reason to challenge myself. This is quite simply a very highly polished, very well done space shooter.